Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
And welcome back to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And I'm your host, Alanna.
And I'm Kelsey.
And I'm doing my NPR voice. No. I hear American podcasters say that.
NPR, what even is that?
National Public Radio, I think?
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was like,
Voice goes up in question mark.
Question mark? I hear the saying all the time. I was like, I don't know what that means.
No, I think we have Coast to Coast. Anyway, that one they talk about. I don't know if that's Canadian, but they do talk about, like, they have people on that talk about aliens and stuff, so, and cryptids. So I hear about that one sometimes too. Yeah.
That's cool.
But I also hear that people that listen to podcasts and talk about it on Reddit don't like when people don't tell what the theme is for the first 10 minutes. Maybe I should tell what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm really excited because Kelsey had the good idea to do doppelgängers, which we haven't touched in a dog's age, I guess.
Yeah, I've kind of had it in my back pocket since the very, very first episode. I was like, oh, some of the Death Omens type stuff. It was like, yeah, we might need to revisit this. Talked about so many things 150 years ago.
No, but that was a very good eclectic episode. Other than it was literally episode 1, so it's also quite cringy maybe and hard to listen to. But
and I do remember I can't remember why we were recording it on our phones, I think, at that point, and for whatever reason I remember at least having to do my segment 3 times. So
it's like you're getting used to it. How does this stuff work? And we don't have our microphones in the mail yet, probably.
Yeah, like technical difficulties or whatever and stuff going on. I just remember fully recording my whole segment 3 times. And it was like,
the
oh my
capabilities were not quite there on the app.
No.
But we've come a long way, baby.
Yeah.
We hope, anyway.
Thank you for everybody that stuck with us.
Yes, all the ratings and reviews and comments and likes and Patreon supporters really help. So
yeah, we love you all.
We do. I sometimes do think maybe we'll do a buy me a coffee thing that other people do, because it's like a one-time donation where people, I don't know, maybe people are leery of things that are memberships, even though it's just as little as $2 a month. But anyway, this is our one Patreon mention. This we get one. We won't mention it again.
Buy us a Timmy's, because we're Canadian, eh?
Yeah, no, it's weird because people will do it. They'll be like, "It's my birthday. Have some Timmy's on me or whatever." And it's really sweet.
Oh, cute! I like
when
that.
People do it to like their favorite podcasters that I've heard of. Also, other people have voicemails that they set up, and people can leave voicemails too. I don't know. We don't have a huge listener base, so it's like you never know what to like do next. But if you guys want it, let us know.
Yeah. Then you can call in. Tell us a funny story.
Call me now. Call me Miss Cleo. I'll tell your fortune. Okay. That was on oh, that old Jonavision show. Anyway.
I just think of Zoltar, that fortune teller like booth that spits out the card. There's one at the mall.
Yeah. It's in like every movie ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is it really us here telling you these stupid stories already, or is it our doppelgangers?
Maybe we died. Maybe we've been replaced.
Well, you went dark this time. I was gonna say, did you ever have someone that people called your doppelganger? Because when I was in high school, there was a girl whose name was Crystal that had glasses and stuff like me, and people sometimes like mistook us for one another, and I was like, oh,
Okay.
okay. I was like, yeah,
I
like I kind of look like her, but you know what I mean. Like when it's you don't really get it. You're like, eh.
I have one that two of my closest friends in high school told me about, and I didn't see this person, but both of them swore, and one of their younger sisters that was with them at the time, all three of them swore it was me. They like yelled my name.
Oh,
It was at like a bus transfer station on the way home from school.
really?
And yeah, they yelled my name at this stranger, and then when me when I didn't Gordo, what are you doing? Jesus. Scratching under the desk.
He's
Go away.
making himself known at minute 11.
Yeah. Yeah, they called my name, and when the person didn't turn around and be like, oh, hey guys, because I was driving to school, I wasn't taking a bus, so like, why would I have been at the bus transfer station hanging out?
Yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah, then they turned around, realized it wasn't me, but we're like, wow, that really looks like Kelsey. And they told me about it dozens of times in the year afterwards, about how this person looked eerily like me, and all three of them had 100% sworn it was me. And
Okay.
I was like, I've never seen this person. So if you're
Right.
out there and you got randomly screamed at a bus stop, and
Did someone ever once yell, Kelsey?
yeah.
Oh.
I think
Yeah,
they
I
yelled
mean, I've
like,
had a
Kelsey,
few
what are
random
you
ones.
doing here? It's like, what? Yeah.
Well, they did one on New Girl the other day. It was like, oh, does anyone ever tell you look like my dead friend Karen or something? And I was like, oh my gosh. But I have had people say things, not like stupid things, but things where you just like don't know how to respond. Where they're like, oh,
Eh.
like
Like, do you
Pat
have
had
a picture of this person
yeah,
that I can be like, oh, cool? But like, if it's just hanging there,
yeah.
it's like, what do I do with this?
It's usually like you remind me of a friend of mine, and you're like, okay, like
Right?
it literally with that much you have nothing to go on.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks. Hope you like them. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Or like Pat's friend, his name was Pat too, but like his DJ name was Velotion, so that's what we usually called him. Because you got to differentiate when you have several Pats, right?
Yeah.
Pat was Skog Pat because that's his DJ name, DJ Skog. Anyway, and Pat Velotion Pat, we used to say, "You look like a Nicole," and every time we almost talk,
What?
he'd be like, "But it's not Nicole, it's Alanna." Right? It's like, "Yep, yep, you got
He
it."
would tell
No,
you look like somebody named Nicole that he knows.
like more like, "Oh, you look like more like a Nicole" or something.
Yeah.
I don't really remember now. It's been a
Yeah.
while. He's no longer with us, or I would ask him, but it's like those little things, right, where you're like, okay.
Well, that's not my name.
Call me Alanna Nicole. No, I don't. All
It
right.
would have been funny if that was like your middle name, because so many people go by their middle name as well.
Right.
Could have been like, oh, that's my middle name.
Like when there's two Kellys in the office and one goes, well, I always wanted to go my middle name, Aaron. Bam, she's Aaron now. I always
Yeah.
thought that one was kind of funny.
Wish granted.
Yeah. Oh, well,
No.
are you going to start us off today? I'm excited.
Yeah, I do have a slight, I almost want to call it a palate cleanser from how
Yeah.
dark and I don't know, frustrating. I think I called it frustrating on Facebook.
How last week's episode was a little depressing.
Yeah, yeah. So this could be a little bit of a palate cleanser. I have a funny TikTok I want to show Alanna. I'm really hoping she has not seen it because I don't go on TikTok.
Yeah.
So this is like
Yeah, probably
somebody
not.
showing.
I don't spend an awful lot of time on there either, to be honest.
So I'm gonna send it to you. I think it's hilarious, and if you haven't already seen it, you 100% have to share it with Pat when we're done recording because I think he would think it's hilarious as well.
I hope it has to do with doppelgangers.
No, it does not. It has nothing to do with this episode.
Oh, did you
I'm
say
sad
that?
to
You
say.
may have. Okay.
Yeah. So there's the link. Okay. You might have to turn down your headphone volume a little bit. I think it comes in really loud.
Oh, that's good to know.
I just think it's hilarious. We'll include the link in the episode description.
Yes. They do that on the Neatcast sometimes. They'll start watching a clip together and then they put in a sound effect that sounds like an old-timey like film reel going to show like whatever.
Yeah, I was like, I could probably pull it up on my phone, but honestly, you need to watch the video that accompanies this because it makes up half of the greatness.
Okay, I'm getting a video with the caption. This is a song about how slow killers walk in scary movies, but somehow they always catch their victims. Yeah. Is that right?
The song, if you do listen to the song, it will get stuck in your head.
You're right. I didn't have the music up. Because they're doing like a catwalk.
Yeah.
Michael is
he's voguing. He's gonna be voguing.
Killer's Walk.
I love it. I think I've watched it like 100 times. I meant to show it to you like probably a month ago when I first found it and I forgot about it, and then I found it again earlier today and I was like, I have to show this to Alanna. Fine.
Victims run, killers walk. Okay. Yeah, I'm totally getting the vibe. Almost reminds me of this guy I used to watch on maybe Instagram. It was like a dancer from Toronto or something, and do his little dancey things, and then you can add like your little bubbles and your little after effects and make it look like you're dancing with stuff. But that was nice. That Pat will probably enjoy that.
Yeah, I just like it that it's Michael Myers mask.
Total Michael Myers, the outfit or the coveralls or whatever. Yeah. And he was doing things to that doorway.
Yeah. He was grinding on the door frame and voguing.
It's like, okay. They do always walk, and the victims always fall down, so
yeah, like stop looking back behind you, like just run faster and look at the ground when you run, not ahead so much. Like
it's always dark and it's always uneven.
Yeah, there's always a sticking tree root that's gonna hook your toes.
The dog decided that was a good time to sit up against the door and open it on me. You trying to scare your mother? Anyway.
Yeah. But you gotta show Pat the video.
I will.
I think he'll like it.
It was good. Oh, anyway, I won't tangent, but yeah, now that he's been hanging the Michael Myers masks down in the basement, it's like, some days it's like, oh, haha, it looks like someone moved the Michael Myers mask to look over towards the bathroom a little bit more or something like that. And then everyone's like, no, I didn't touch it. It's like, oh, really?
No, that's creepy. Don't do that. I don't like that.
Yeah, but it's like, anyway, moving right on. What do you got to tell me? I'm excited.
I have some this was on, well, I guess it was listverse.com. They had a thing, 10 disturbing tales of doppelgangers.
I feel like I've gone there for sources. Yes, I like that website.
Yeah.
It's like Ranker. You're like, okay, here's a little blurb and stuff I can dive into.
Yeah, they had a decent amount of information, like I don't know, 3 or 4 paragraphs about most of these. I was like, oh, that's kind of more than like basically the slightly longer caption that they typically have. So
yeah.
this was article by Polly Poishu.
Amory. Oh, sorry. What? Okay.
But I know you have some background information about the doppelgangers. I don't want to cover anything they have at the beginning.
Oh, I figure if I go second, I don't have to. We won't have to. I'll try not to overlap too much, I guess. Oh, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And it was handy because the main guy I was gonna cover was like the first one on this list. I was like, oh, perfect.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. His name is Johann Wolfgang von Goethe.
Okay. I feel like I
might have run across.
Like, yeah. The name like came up or whatever. I was definitely on the Wikipedia page, so.
Yeah, I think a lot of these were coming up.
The power of Fenrir's butt almost opened the door. I could hear it moving in
the power of Fenrir's butt. So Johann, he was born in 1749 and died in 1832.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm. He was a famous German writer, poet, and politician, a celebrated author who played a large part in shaping the field of literature, and his words were widely read and respected.
A lot of poets, I felt like, came up on
poets and writers
page. Yeah, weird.
Poets, writers, and politicians. He's all three.
Because Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, he's also on here.
Okay.
So one day...
Spoiler if you hadn't seen our first episode. Sorry. Kelsey talked about that.
I'm sure we talked about that.
Gosh, you guys don't remember? Get out of here. Go back and listen. No, don't. We love you. Stay here.
Yeah, his experience was interesting. One day, it says a depressed Goethe. He was riding on a footpath after leaving a girl named Frederica, and suddenly he faced a mysterious person riding towards him. The person who Goethe said he saw with a mind's eye instead of his actual eyes was clearly Goethe himself, although he was wearing different clothes. He says the figure soon disappeared, and Goethe, who found its appearance strangely soothing, soon forgot all about it. I mean, I probably wouldn't forget about it that quickly, but okay.
Interesting that he said, like, he saw it in his mind's eye. Because I wonder then, the more I think it's just a figment of my imagination, being like, oh, what would it be like if I was over there doing this? Then maybe he just brushed it off, I guess.
Yeah. 8 years later, he found himself...
Sorry.
Yeah, I like this one. 8 years later, he found himself riding down the same footpath in the opposite direction to also see Frederica again. That's when he realized he was wearing the exact same clothes his doppelganger had worn those 8 years before. Yeah, so he like saw himself in the future.
And there were clothes he didn't recognize too, or something, right?
At the time, I guess. Yeah.
What the hell? I wouldn't wear that. Yeah, and then he's like, oh. It's... We were literally watching the episode of Supernatural the other day where they find out there's a guy who's written a bunch of books about them, and then, spoiler alert, he's a prophet of the Lord, and so he keeps being able to predict everything that's going to happen. And they're like, and then it says, Dean, that you're going to, have these little pink Band-Aids on your forehead. And then he ends up getting, like, hit by a minivan, and the lady's like, are you okay? And the daughter had put, like, the pink bandage on his head, and it's like all coming to fruition. And he's like, damn it. We thought that would never happen. Yeah. Weird.
What's interesting with Goth, this isn't the only doppelganger he ever saw. There was another time where he saw his friend Frederick walking on the street wearing Goth's own dressing gown. It says, puzzled, Goth went home only to find Frederick there wearing the same gown Goth had seen on the apparition. His friend had been surprised by the rain and had borrowed the gown as his clothes dried. So he had seen Frederick out on the street wearing his gown, but Frederick was at Goth's home wearing the gown.
So each time he had seen a vision of the future, basically, for those ones.
Yeah.
That's what makes those ones interesting to me, because
it's kind of like deja vu.
Or like I'll hear a story of someone writing into Odd Trails or whatever, where they're like, I saw someone coming down the path and there was no one around. And I thought, hey, guy. And then it's like, 20 years later, I saw someone coming down the path, younger me. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? And it's like, literally like, I don't know what you call it. Like, if it was younger you, would it be a time loop? Would it be a vision of the future? Would it be like a weird glitch in the Matrix interaction? It's just like so interesting. I don't know.
There I think is a few more details about this story I remember seeing somewhere. But interesting.
Totally.
I liked that he at least he experienced kind of like both sides of it. He didn't just see something, and then this was like he saw himself years later in that same area, and then like it happened, and then like he sees his friend wearing the dressing gown, but then he goes home and his friend's wearing the dressing gown.
Right. So like twice for him, which means it wasn't even a death omen at all, because he just kept going.
Then we have Catherine the Great.
She's an interesting person.
She was a powerful 18th century empress of Russia, described as a dangerous figure and not fazed by small matters such as seeing her own ghostly doppelganger take over her throne.
They were made of stern stuff. They went through some shit to be a royal. Poor things.
18th century anywhere, I feel like it would just be awful.
I literally I think wrote down a topic earlier that was like cruel rulers or something, because there was one Russian empress lady that was like, go sleep in this ice palace, the two of you, and if you can make it through the night. Like, I felt like she was like, comes off like an evil person in a fairy tale.
Damn.
Right.
For Catherine the Great, it said that one night Catherine was laying in her bed when worried servants told her that they'd just seen her enter the throne room. When Catherine set out to investigate, she found her doppelganger sitting calmly on the throne, and Catherine immediately ordered her sentries to shoot her ghostly counterpart.
Seriously?
Yeah, this one kind of is a death omen. The stories don't tell whether the bullet had any effect on the spectral empress. However, Catherine herself died soon afterwards. So hers kind of was a death omen.
Okay. One of those where they're like, did she die of a stroke, or was it a curse, or did she have sex with a horse, or was that the other one? There's a lot of foul rumors that go with some of them. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It was probably something more mundane. But that's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it says, what she died of.
Yeah, but like the fact that someone saw it and then she could have the time to come out and see it too, I find that really fascinating.
Yeah, enough that like she orders them to shoot it. Like,
I'm
gonna Google what they said she dies from.
Okay, I think I heard a stroke. I don't know. I was listening to some history podcasts this week. Noble Blood is a really good one.
She came to power after overthrowing her husband Peter the Third. What?
I think it's like Catherine. No, they had an episode that was like Catherine the Great and Peter the Mediocre because he liked to just like play with his soldier toys and stuff. He was just not suited for maybe this kind of job.
Yeah. Oh, buddy.
Oh.
Gordo just came on the desk and just leaned his head against my arm. Baby, you're sweet.
Gordo, Kelsey's furry boyfriend. No, I'm just kidding. He's being cute. That's nice. Fenrir was like having a fit earlier and getting the zoomies when I came home.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because I forgot something in the car, and then he was like, oh, "Where did you go? Where did you go?"
Oh yeah. I can't find what she died of right now.
Okay.
Something. The next one is Percy Bysshe Shelley, husband to Mary Shelley, author of Frankenstein.
That is so cool.
Inventor of science fiction.
And like poet,
all
writer.
Hail Mary Shelley.
The historical ones seem to have that total theme. But yeah, super cool. Love that.
Yeah. Percy Shelley was a brilliant poet in his own right, although he's mainly remembered as the husband of Mary Shelley. I like that. He doesn't get to be his own person. He gets to be her husband.
Right? Because sometimes you're like, I know that person's, his wife. Yeah.
Although one would assume that Mary, the horror writer, would have been the one to see ghosts and monsters, it was in fact Percy who witnessed doppelgangers. Shortly before Percy drowned in a sailing accident in 1812, he confessed to Mary that he had met his doppelganger many times, which I think is interesting.
So before he died again. Oh.
Yeah, but like multiple times.
Gordo's tail just did like in the corner.
I know, he's mad because he was trying to do something.
I thought I was having a seizure. Strobe lights.
These confrontations included one particularly haunting experience where he walked onto a terrace, only to be greeted by his doppelganger, who asked him, "How long do you mean to be content?" What? How long do you mean to be content? How long do you mean to be happy? Yeah, that's creepy. Out on a balcony.
I mean, it seems like rhetorical. I don't know, bitch. Get out of here.
Strangely, Percy's doppelganger was also witnessed by her close friend Jane Williams, who saw it passing her window on a route frequently walked by the real Percy, that led to a dead end, but never returned from it.
Isn't Percy the husband?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Percy's doppelganger was seen by Mary's close friend Jane. I think they mean in this.
Oh, sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah. Walked passing by her window, frequently walked by the real Percy to a dead end, but never returning, while the real Percy was nowhere near. So, I think it's always creepy when multiple people witness it.
Yeah, that seems like I've seen it used in a book where they're like, oh, and then I saw the person where they shouldn't be, and they go running back to their house because they know they're probably going to be found dead, and you're like, oh, like, yeah, very much death omen of death passing, or like vision of them when they are passing or something.
Yeah, it's almost like they talk about residual ghost hauntings, but it's like that before the person dies almost. Like, it's creepy.
Yeah, some of the ones you hear are strong. I heard one the other day where they're like went into the house and the person showed them around, then went to go back to the house the other day. Like the person had asked, oh, come back, take pictures. And then they like come back and the neighbor's like, yeah, blue house, blue shutters. that hasn't been there for 15 years since it burnt down and like they all,
Yeah.
died or whatever. You're like, what?
Yeah, that's creepy.
Oh, so creepy.
Gordo, your tail cannot be on the laptop, okay? Next is Sir Frederick Carnrash. This one's in 1906. British Parliament member Sir Gilbert Parker was attending a debate when he spotted this Sir Frederick Carney-Rash, a fellow Parliament member that was sitting
Sir
nearby.
Frederick Carney-Rash?
Yeah, it's like, Sir Frederick, and then Carne, last name's Rasch. Rash.
Oh my god, I love it.
Carney-Rash. Probably pronouncing it wrong, but whatever. There's too many names in here.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, just sometimes the lord and lady names don't sound so fancy because their last names are like something stupid sounding. No offense. Yeah.
So seeing this gentleman greatly surprised Sir Gilbert, as Sir Frederick was severely ill with influenza at the time.
Oh no.
Still, he politely greeted Sir Frederick and told him, "I hope you're feeling better." Carney-Rash did not react in any way. He just sat there with a stony, grim expression on his face.
Oh,
and
ew.
Yeah. When Sir Gilbert soon glanced at his friend again, the seat was completely empty. Bewildered, he searched for Carney-Rash in the lobby, only to find that no one had seen him pass by. When he discussed the event with fellow parliamentarians, it turned out others had seen Carney-Rash too. When the real Carney-Rash, who had been sick in bed all along, found out about the incident, he was quite unsurprised. He had really wanted to take part in the debate, so to him it made sense that a spirit had sneaked a peek.
Oh. What? So he didn't die? Then,
I don't know.
At least? Oh my
god. His family, however, was terrified and feared the doppelganger was a bad sign. In a small way.
Man. They're superstitious as fuck. It's like...
Yeah.
Oh, the olden days.
In a small way, they were right. For quite some time, Carney-Rash was annoyed by fellow parliament members who kept poking him with their fingers to make sure he was flesh and blood. Oh no!
Please.
Can you imagine? Like, every time you talk to someone, they're just poking you?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you really here? Is this really you?
Oh, yeah. You're not dreaming. Yeah, no.
That'd be annoying.
Not cool.
In the end, he had to write a massively sarcastic letter to a local newspaper apologizing that he didn't have the good sense to die at the time of the doppelganger sighting and promising to behave better next time. Wow.
I love like 17th, 18th century like snark and stuff because they're like so polite, but at the same time they're like so cutting. They're like, I'll be sure to die in time next time, motherfucker. No, but they, so classy, like. Oh, damn. The put downs. They're epic.
Yeah. Jesus. I didn't fully read most of these. I was just like, oh, these are like good write-ups. I was like, I'll just cold read it. I was like, wow. Yeah, they're fun. I like this.
I know. You know what's fun is there's so much content out there. You're like doppelgangers in history, stories, like all this stuff comes up. You're like, oh my god, this is awesome.
Yeah, like stories, like books, and then movies, TV shows, all this stuff shows up now.
Right, like modern stories, and then older ones. It's just like crazy.
Yeah. Next we have Queen Elizabeth I of England.
Really?
Yeah, she reigned from 1558 to 1603, so quite a long time.
Okay,
and she,
right.
Yeah, she was the last Tudor to rule the country, widely recognized as a charismatic, level-headed, and savvy monarch. She was the kind of person who one wouldn't expect to dabble with the paranormal.
Okay, and was she the virgin one? They were like, who's going to be her successor? She never got married. And you're like, she had sex. No, I don't. It may not have come up in your.
I don't read a
Wait,
lot of historical
well, no, but I
nonfiction.
guess if Queen Elizabeth II is the one that just died, is that not true? Yes. Okay, this is probably one of the early.
Yeah.
This is one of the earlier Elizabeths. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
Yeah, which makes it all the more scary when she claimed she had witnessed her doppelganger. According
Okay.
to the Queen, the spectral Elizabeth was lying motionless on her bed, almost like a corpse
Mm.
laid out for presentation. The experience was particularly haunting because such appearances are said to be a certain sign of death.
Oh.
Yeah. Still, it
Yeah,
would
she
be
probably didn't
easy.
take that well.
No, like I wouldn't want to lay in that bed afterward.
No,
Uh,
you're right.
Still, it would be easy to put this down as a temporary glitch in the mind of an elderly, stressed out ruler, but if it wasn't for the fact that Elizabeth died soon after seeing the doppelganger.
Elderly. How old was
Yeah,
she?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. That was Queen Elizabeth. Oops, that was Queen Elizabeth the First, though, right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you said the 1500s. Okay. No, I'll just. I'm
yeah,
sure she wasn't that old.
she must have. Yeah, I think she probably died in 1603 when
Okay.
her reign ended. I assume.
Okay. I mean, how old was she? I'll check. Elizabeth the
I mean, she
First.
ruled for just shy of 50 years, so she was practically
Damn,
ancient.
woman. Right, 1603. So she was young. No, 70, I guess, ish. All right, well.
In the 1600s, 70 was 120 now.
She probably looked like she was 90, to be fair.
Yeah. I always love those things where they show somebody that just looks so haggard and like
Oh, no.
weathered, and then in a movie or TV show that's like kind of a satire on something, they're like, I just turned 16 last month, and you're like, no. But you can clearly tell like some actor that's like 70 is playing them.
Oh,
Like,
right. Yeah,
I
movies
turn
and
20 next month. It's like
they're
my
always
favorite thing.
played older on TV. But yeah, then
Yeah.
people joke about history that, like, oh my God, you'd be dead at 50. It's like, I think more the average age was affected by the fact that many children died young, not so much that you couldn't live to
Yes.
like 60 or 70, but you looked
Absolutely.
fucking old. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, too funny.
And more so people like commoners aren't the ones that live that long because they
Oh,
were like working
yeah.
in mines and farmers and stuff. And I feel like those kind of occupations are a lot more hard on the body.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the conditions could make all the difference for sure.
Yeah. Next is Maria de Jesus de Agreda.
She's
And like,
Latina, Spanish, De Jesus. I don't know.
yeah, she doesn't really. I mean, it says in New Mexico. I think she's a nun, though. I don't think
Haven't
she's
heard of
from
her.
Mexico. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't seem like it. I think she's just a like missionary. This talks about missionaries quite a bit.
Okay.
Although doppelgangers are generally perceived as sinister, it is said that sometimes a person it is not only able to control them, but use them as a sort of second body that can by bilocate to other places in an instant. Oh my god, I should have pre-read this. The fuck?
That sounds almost more like how astral projection could get all fucked up, like
Yeah.
in that Behind Her Eyes book slash miniseries.
Yeah.
Don't leave your
Absolutely.
body alone. Guard that shit.
In the 17th century, explorers and missionaries to the New World were astonished to find that many of the tribes in New Mexico were already merrily practicing Catholicism. When
Okay.
questioned, the tribesmen said that they had been converted by a mysterious lady in blue who had taught them and even given them a number of crucifixes and other items of worship. This is crazy.
Okay.
With careful detective work, a few priests finally traced the phenomena to Maria de Agreda, a young blue-robed
Oh.
Spanish nun. She claimed to have taught Christianity to the Indians by bilocating across the ocean. Mary had
What is
never
this
left her...
bilocating? I've never
I
heard
have
of it.
no idea.
Is it moving to the other side of the
I don't know, but there's
continent?
a different article under bilocating. Bilocating
Oh,
across
goodness.
the ocean. Oh, it takes me to a website trying to sell me a book called The Other Side of Death. Okay.
I'm like, okay, it sounds like you took the words relocating and by and just mashed that prefix in there.
Mary had never left her convent and only knew the place she had been as a savage land, but her story was enough to convince the priests. Initially, the Inquisition was extremely suspicious of Maria, but they decided to acquit her of witchcraft charges. She was acquitted of witchcraft?
That
Possibly
actually
because
happened?
Yeah, right? I'm so shocked. Possibly because her story was just too good to waste. Her power was
Don't be
declared to be...
suspicious. Don't be suspicious. I'm so sorry.
Her power was declared to be of divine origin, and she became an international celebrity, the leader of her convent, and an author of rambling books on how she acquired her powers.
Well, no, that's
Oh, no.
opinionated, that writing. Rambling books. Maybe you write rambling articles, person. No.
Yeah. However, later in life, she changed her story multiple times. Sometimes she claimed she was pressured to say she could habitually cast her spiritual copy to another continent, and sometimes she said it was true after all. That's wild. I feel like I need to look more about her. Sounds insane.
I would also like to know more.
Yeah. She's
intriguing.
Crazy. Okay.
Right? Some of them seem like they might fall into other paranormal categories almost. So
yeah.
Like the premonitions or whatever that they seem to line up with is kind of crazy.
Next is Abraham Lincoln.
Ooh.
Might be one of like the famous ones, maybe?
I think it might be more well known. I feel like I've heard it mentioned on a podcast or two. It's like, what do they call him? Good old Steady Abe. Nope, that's not it. It says
Honest Abe.
Honest Abe, that's it.
Didn't he have teeth made out of wood? He had like dentures made out of wood.
That's George Washington. Oh. He had bad teeth that he had to have some dentures. Yeah.
Sounds gross.
Like he'll make a little cameo in Outlander there. Spoiler. I know, I'm gonna shut up.
I don't have much more. Just a couple more. Abraham Lincoln, known as Honest Abe, as such, was very open about his interest in the paranormal, at least in private discussions. According to the man himself, he also experienced some paranormal activity. On the night of his first election, he took a moment to rest on his couch one evening, and while laying there, he happened to glance in a mirror and he saw his own visage, except that he had two faces. A second Lincoln, pale and ghostly, was looking at him from the mirror, right next to his own face. Startled, he rose from the couch and the doppelganger disappeared, and he sat back down only to see it again. That's creepy.
Oh, no. That is very horror movie coded. Come on. That must have been very scary. Oh, poor dude.
Lincoln was startled, but his wife Mary was downright terrified. She was convinced that the doppelganger... She was convinced that the doppelganger was bad news, a certain sign that Lincoln would be reelected on a second term, possibly because 2 Lincolns equals 2 terms, but wouldn't survive it because the second Lincoln looked deathly. Lincoln went on.
So she inferred that from what he saw, though.
Yeah.
Yes? She didn't see it, right?
I don't think so. I think I heard stuff that she might have, but this one doesn't really mention that.
Yeah, it's a thinker. It's a weird one, that's for sure.
Yeah. Lincoln went on to repeat the couch experience every once in a while. He did manage to glimpse the doppelganger one more time, but after that it stopped appearing. Maybe it had delivered its message, as Lincoln indeed didn't make it through his second term. That's a terrible sentence. Or
we all know
maybe
he was like the first one to be assassinated.
Yeah.
I think successfully.
This one says he didn't make it through his second term, or maybe someone just fixed the mirror. Wow. That's what the article says. Or maybe somebody just fixed the mirror.
Love it. Oh, okay. I'm like, maybe someone got into the theater with a gun.
Yeah.
That's probably the problem. Anyway.
Next is George Tryon.
Okay.
I had heard his name.
I think I saw the name come up too, because I went, Tryon, also a name that comes out in Outlander. Drink. There was a General Tryon in the American Revolution era.
Oh, well, this is a Vice Admiral.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's quite a title. I think that's pretty high up, Vice Admiral. I don't know if it's like
Sounds
Navy.
pretty important.
Yeah, it's definitely like military something.
June 22nd, 1893 was not a good day for Vice Admiral George Tryon. He was commanding 2 columns of ships off the coast of Syria when he gave a command for the columns to turn towards each other. This attempt at a majestic naval drill maneuver turned out to be an amateur mistake, as the first ships promptly rammed into each other, and one of them, the one Tryon happened to be in, sank like a stone. Tryon died knowing that he had just doomed 357 men to drown. His last words were fittingly and heartbreakingly, "It is entirely my fault."
Oh.
This is crazy. Okay.
Damn. Well, at least it was that and not...
This is not my fault. I didn't do it.
Remember the guy that made the stupid Ocean Gate Titan submersible said, "Safety just is pure waste." At least he wasn't that kind of an idiot. It was like, yeah, I'm going to endanger other people's lives with my stupidity because I think I'm rich and invincible. They use it as a soundbite a lot on this podcast I listen to called Disaster Hour. They're like, thanks for the great soundbite. You're an idiot. Oh God. Anyway, I'm so sorry.
Oh, this is creepy. At the exact same time, Tryon's wife was holding a lavish party for their friends in their London home. Suddenly, to the guests' surprise, Tryon appeared at the party. Silently, he walked down a staircase, solemnly proceeded through the drawing room, and opened the door as if to leave before he suddenly disappeared. Yeah.
For the whole party. That's so creepy.
Yeah.
I love it. I have to say.
Yeah. He was dressed in full uniform as if he was commanding a drill. There are some holes in the story. For instance, some say Lady Tryon was busy with the guests and never saw this doppelganger, while others claim she was one of the onlookers. Still, the tale bears eerie resemblance to old sea tales of a sailor's fetch, another name for a spirit doppelganger alerting his family upon his death.
Okay. No, it is. When I looked up vice admiral, it is a senior naval rank, so that makes sense.
Oh,
You're
okay.
like a senior in the naval, military or whatever.
Cool.
And fetch. I've also heard that. That one comes up in mine too, and I was like, oh shit. I feel like I've heard this term in the historical freaking books that I've read. Because I'm a
Yeah.
history nerd. And I was like, oh my god, stop trying to make fetch happen.
I don't think that's quite what they meant.
No, but it is. It's a different word. I know. But I was like,
Yeah.
perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Another word for like a double, which is cool.
Yeah, spirit doppelganger.
Right? Interesting.
Okay, I have two more.
What?
There is Guy de... Oh my god.
Oh, is it French? It's probably Guy.
Guy de... I have no idea how to pronounce his last name. It's like Maupassant.
Holy shit.
Passant. Passant. Maupassant.
Oh, yeah, Maupassant? I'm not sure.
Something. He's a French writer known for what is perhaps the most intimate doppelganger experience on record.
Intimate? Okay, spicy.
Yeah, cue the bow chicka wow wow, maybe? I don't know.
Casa erotica. No, that's supernatural.
Toward the end of his life, he is said to have regularly interacted with his doppelganger. This eerie twin not only talked to him, but actually sat down and started dictating a short story to him.
Whoa.
Yes, he claimed that one of his last stories was literally ghostwritten by his own ghost, no less.
Oh my god.
Yes, I have a ghostwriter. It is myself.
Yeah, it's automatic writing about my own self. Oh my god.
Okay. If that's not chilling enough, don't worry, it gets even better. The story the spirit allegedly dictated to him was the Horla, an unnerving tale of a man whose sanity is slowly consumed by an evil spirit that uses him as a host. As if echoing the story, his mental health started deteriorating soon after finishing it. Oh.
Wow.
There's another version of events saying the doppelganger did not dictate the book, as it disappeared when the terrified Guy was called his servant. What? Oh, called his servant. However, the apparition returned a few months later. It entered the writer's room looking at him with a sad expression, then sat down and buried his face in its hands.
Oh.
As if in despair, convinced that the doppelganger brought news of disaster. The horrified Guy's life was downhill from there. He died in an insane asylum a year later. Oh my god.
That's crazy. That really fucked up his life. Wow.
Yeah. That's creepy.
That is a creepy one. And it's like, I don't know, I guess with some ghost stories where you're like, that's almost, uplifting, where it's like a family member or something, but then some of these where you're like, oh no, that like ruined your life, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Actually, that is a good podcast. The Eli Roth's A Ghost Ruined My Life. Not bad. But horrifying. Like, to say the least. Yeah. Don't like. Nope, hard pass.
The last one I had is one of the only ones I had heard before. I think they covered it on like the Watcher channel, from the guys that did the BuzzFeed Unsolved things.
Yeah, I think I've seen them on YouTube or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did an episode somewhere along the lines about this. Her name is Emily Sage.
That's cute.
Yeah. This one, there's a lot of stuff saying it didn't happen, but because it can't really, there's no historical documentation that they can follow. Yeah.
Hard to verify then. Okay.
Yeah, but this one's pretty interesting. Emily Sage never saw her own doppelganger, but everyone else did. Sage worked in an exclusive girls' school. She was a very good teacher, but for some reason she kept moving from one job to another.
This sounds very familiar. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In
That'd be so weird. As a teacher or whatever.
In 16 years, she had changed positions an impressive 19 times. And in 1845, the school she was currently at, I guess, found out why. Sage was allegedly the center of some very strange doppelganger activity. Her spectral twin was first seen during a class as 13 students witnessed a doppelganger standing by Sage's side and mirroring her movements.
Wow. That would be a little unnerving.
Right?
I like this teacher, but
I don't want two of them.
Creepy vibe, or else maybe I'm seeing double. Yeah. You're just like confused.
Next, it stood beside her as she ate, pantomiming her movements. Okay. Sage herself was completely oblivious to the apparition, despite the fact that everyone else could see it very clearly.
Oh, wow.
However, she did become strangely groggy and powerless during the times that the doppelganger manifested, and the wraith was often seen doing things Sage later said that she had been thinking about at the moment, suggesting that she may have had some subliminal control over it. So kind of like what the other guy said. There was like doing stuff that he had thought about doing but hadn't done.
Just as soon as you said so groggy, I was like, oh my god, I was so fucking tired today. But then it was like, I don't think I had any plans in my subconscious. At least I don't think so.
Yeah, right.
Right. Who's to say?
Soon the doppelganger ventured beyond Sage's immediate vicinity. At first, it appeared to a classroom full of students sitting calmly in the teacher's chair, while Sage herself was outside working in the garden. The few people who dared to approach the doppelganger found that they could pass through it, yet it had a texture that reminded them of thick fabric. Time went by and the apparition became a permanent fixture in the school's life, freaking people out on a regular basis. The girls' concerned parents started removing their children from the school, and although Sage was a model employee on all non-paranormal accounts, the headmistress had no option but to fire her and her ghostly double.
I disagree with that sentiment. If she's a model employee, other than this thing that she can't control, that just sucks, you know?
I guess it might have freaked out the kids, but yeah, I did come across some stuff saying that like they had gone through like the school records and stuff back in 1845 and like the year surrounding it, and could never verify of this individual ever working at any schools. Yeah.
I wondered if it does seem like something that could be like maybe blown out of proportion.
Yeah, because I mean, if she supposedly worked at 16 years, she had worked at, I think they're trying to say 19 schools, but like they've never found any record of her at any of these schools. So yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, there's some famous cases.
Damn, was that all your famous cases on that list?
Yeah.
Oh my god. There's a lot more famous cases than I realized, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of them I had run across when I was trying to look some up, like the ones that come up almost every time, but this list had a few I didn't come across anywhere else, so.
No, I like that. Yeah. I found a few modern ones on the Reddit, and then
Nice.
yeah, Wikipedia had a few of those, and a few of at least one other one, I guess, that you didn't talk about. So we'll be right
Nice.
back, and we'll have a quick, you know, other shallow dive, deep dive, I don't know.
Nice.
Doppelganger dive. And
Our doppelgangers will be here for part 2.
it's so creepy. I don't know
I
why
know,
when you say
right?
that I'm like, oh no.
No
Someone's gonna take
thanks.
me over.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, be right back. All right, we're back. What would you like to hear first? A little bit of origin,
Yeah.
more historical, or the modern Reddit stories?
Let's go origins for what is this? What did they do on Jeopardy? Origins for 200?
No, sounds good. And I made the mistake of just adding so many of the ones I found on a Reddit. Plus, then they took up a bunch of one page. Okay. I was like, heading, and then it was like, whatever. You know, when you like try to copy and paste from a website so that you don't get all the ads and stuff, and then it was like, we can only fit this much per page. So then it ended up like with like one Reddit story per page. So then I felt like
Oh
it's
jeez.
like you have like 13 pages. I'm like, it's not that long. And all right. Most of us know the word origin comes from the German double walker, double goer. But yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I guess us Anglophones don't capitalize it. We usually drop the umlaut over the A. I guess because most freaking computers don't know how to put an umlaut if you're not writing in German. That's a little.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea how to do it, and I also don't know how to get the little like accent over the E for French either.
Oh, exactly. No. I was complaining to Rain the other day because she talks to her American friends so much, like online / like on Discord, whatever, that she'll say things like on accident, and I'm like, that is the American. It's by
Yeah.
accident or accidentally. On accident is not a thing. We're like very against it in this house. No offense,
Yeah.
Americans, but what you say is wrong. And also, then I have to change my word thing if it's like not Canadian English, because then it's like neighbor is spelled wrong, and I'm like, oh, it's OUR, bitch.
Yeah. It is our neighbor.
Yeah, and color OUR.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I
my
have the same thing. I can't remember
Aggressively
what it
Canadian.
is that I watch or listen to that they say on accident, and it
Oh my gosh.
drives me insane.
I think that's the problem is Rain will say it and Pat and I are like, what are you saying? We don't say that in Canada. We say by accident. I wonder
Yeah.
if on accident came from people mishearing an accident, as in it was an accident. It happened accidentally. You know what I mean? Like it was
Maybe.
just an accident, you know? It's not on accident. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just as you mentioned, another word that has been used more commonly before doppelganger caught on was fetch.
Yeah.
And that's what I wrote in my notes. They made fetch happen. Oh god. So in Egypt, a spirit double was called a ka and possessed the same feelings and memories as the original person, I suppose.
Yeah.
They said, and I didn't look up pronunciation, wah, wah. But in Norse mythology, a Vardagur is a ghostly double who is seen performing the person's actions in advance. All right. Reminds me a couple of your stories in advance.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Finnish mythology, this pattern is described as having an, again, pronunciation, I'm sorry, etenen, a first comer. Definitely said that wrong. They mentioned, the historical cases, the Catherine the Great one is one that comes up. It came up in my research too, and what's his nuts? Percy Shelley.
Yeah. The husband to Mary Shelley.
Right, and creepy stuff. But then another one that came up was a John Donne, an English metaphysical poet. I was like, another poet. He apparently saw his wife's double on the same night she had given birth to their trigger warning stillborn child, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
So that one's, it's kind of rough, but it was documented, which makes it, I guess, worthy of them putting it on the Wikipedia and such. It was documented in the life of Dr. Rizvan Rising? I don't know. He's a weird
Rizvan
name.
Rising? What's that name?
What is that name? It starts with R-I-Z. How is that a thing? Danzig? No. Anyway. 2 days after their arrival there, Mr. Donne was left alone in that room in which Sir Robert and he and some other friends had dinner together. To this place Sir Robert returned within half an hour, and as he left, so he found Mr. Donne alone, but in such ecstasy, and so altered as to his looks. I think that might mean more emotional turmoil in this context, but bear with me. I'm like, and so altered as to his looks, as amazed Sir Robert to behold him in so much that he earnestly desired Mr. Donne to declare what had befallen him in the short time of his absence.
Damn, that's such an old-timey sentence.
When I had to say declare, I was starting to...
I declare that something befell me.
Now I hear a Southern belle and I can't get it out of my head. Yep.
I do declare.
I do declare. I'm literally Oscar trying to sound like a Southern belle on the... Why do I always bring it up back to The Office? It's your fault, Kelsey. Hi, Fen. Are you coming in? Is he just kind of bug? Is Dad coming upstairs? Doug just opened the door with his nose. So, yes, do declare. To which Mr. Donne was not able to make a present answer, but after a long and perplexing pause, did at last say, I have seen a dreadful vision since I saw you. I have seen my dear wife pass twice by me through this room, with her hair hanging about her shoulders, and a dead child in her arms. This I have seen since I saw you. Yeah, it's a rough one, too. To which Sir Robert replied, Sure, sir, you have slept since I saw you, and this is the result of some melancholy dream, which I desire you to forget, for you are now awake. To which Mr. Donne's reply was, I cannot be sure that I now live, than that I have not slept since I saw you, and I am assured that at her second appearing she stopped, looked me in the face, and vanished. Sorry. They're
so old-timey.
Yeah, sometimes hard to get through, but like that one was sad because apparently it did happen when his wife gave birth to a stillborn child when he wasn't with her, and it's like, oh my god, that's so sad, right? It's like, ugh. Also, why do they always have to be away from each other when they're pregnant?
Yeah.
It would send women into confine during their last 2 months. It was so crazy. You can't go anywhere.
You'll catch the pregnant.
It's been featured in many short stories and like literature also throughout history, which is something I never really delved into. But I guess Edgar Allan Poe had a story like about a William Wilson, a short story,
Oh,
and
okay.
he meets another William Wilson, and then is like, quote, dogged throughout his life by the disturbing presence of the other William Wilson. As the story progresses, we learn that this weird fellow is not actually our narrator's evil twin, as we might have expected. He's better than our narrator. He stops our narrator from doing a number of bad things before the original William succeeds in reasserting his uniqueness by an act of murder, naturally.
Oh, he's like the good William Wilson.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, no, there's apparently quite a bit of stories and literature that touch on the phenomenon, which is cool. I would love to read some of these. I guess that one was sort of a double or a inspiration from a Washington Irvine novel called An Unwritten Drama of Lord Byron. And fun fact was Washington Irvine was the one that wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Oh,
Fun. I mean, also a cool, scary story,
yeah.
right? And I just think Lord Byron, I'm pretty sure would be fun to cover because I think I heard him in the context of like old timey, just like bad breakups, where it was like, wow, you're a big dick.
Jeez.
Heard you talked about on other podcasts where you're like, oh, even back in the day, guys were just sometimes the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these writers keep popping up. It was so weird. I was like, oh. There's been other stories. In 1846 was The Double, a Petersburg poem, which was Dostoevsky. Why didn't I have that written in here? But it was. And it had some cool quotes, which just even taken out of context, I thought were cool. And now I want to read it. One was, these gentlemen are my rules. If I don't succeed, I keep trying. If I do succeed, I keep quiet. And in any case, I don't undermine anyone. I'm not an intriguer, and I'm proud of it. I wouldn't make a good diplomat. They also say, gentlemen, that the bird flies to the fowler. That's true, and I'm ready to agree, but who is the fowler here, and who is the bird? That's still a question, gentlemen. Oh yeah, I have it here. It's from Fyodor Dostoevsky, The Double.
Nice.
Yeah, some of the stories are so creepy from the old ones, but I love the old ones and the modern ones from like the Reddit and stuff. And like I feel like I could read a whole bunch more on our Patreon too. Like, what do you guys like more? Like the old ones, or like I have a few more of the modern, like the Reddit creepy ones that I didn't get to yet because I just did some of the origins.
I would read some of them. Otherwise, your segment's like 15 minutes.
No, I know, you're right. No, and it was good because you got to talk about some of the historical ones, which was good. So I was glad I didn't like have too many deep dives in some of them. Okay. Let me grab a couple of our good ones about doppelgängers from whatever the paranormal thread was on Reddit. Okay, so this post starts, I had a friend years ago who worked in a funeral home. One day after work, her mom and grandmother watched my friend walk in through the front door of their house and angrily march upstairs without saying a word, slamming her bedroom door. Concerned, they followed her upstairs to the second floor to see what was wrong. They knocked, no reply. They opened the door, room was empty, nowhere to hide, and no way she could have left through the window. I don't think that's possible. They went back downstairs, baffled and shaken. 20 minutes later, my friend came home for real and was asked by them if she had come home and left again. She said no, she had just left work and came straight home now. My friend knew I was into creepy stuff and told me the story without having any knowledge about doppelgangers or mimics. We lost contact over the years, but I'd be curious to track her down and try to get more details.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you don't need to know much about doppelgangers to, like...
True.
I don't know.
No, like, recognize it.
Yeah.
I love this one's this one's posted by someone called Confused Confuzzled.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
It says, I have one. This happened to many of us girls that work together. We worked at a dog kennel place. Many weird things happened, but let me stick to your main theme for this comment. We would hear each other speaking when we weren't even there that day. I would constantly see my manager standing next to me as I bathed dogs, like she wanted to say something, but when I turned around, no one was there.
Ooh.
We would randomly get called to the kennels or office, and when we got there, no one was looking for us.
See, that happens at my work. I'll hear,
Really?
I swear I'll hear my name and there'll be like 20 cashiers and I'll like go and I'll be like, who just called me? And everybody turns around and goes, nobody. And I'm like,
no.
Ah!
Oh my god.
I'm being haunted at work.
Okay, like if I hear that, like I can tell myself, because literally I work so close to a girl named Anna. So like half the time, I swear to God,
okay.
people are literally talking to her anyway, because she's like a phone agent. But that is so funny that you're like, no, seriously.
Yeah, sometimes I'll come out and I'll be like, oh yeah, like who called for me? Who said my name? And they're like, nobody. And I'm just like,
Ugh.
okay.
Yeah, no, that's really weird.
Yeah, because on the radio, sometimes all you hear is like E. You'll hear like the ending of your name, and then we'll just be like, who are you calling? There's so many of us that our names would end in an E sound, like repeat. But this is like in person. I'm thinking I'm hearing somebody call me, and it probably happens like 4 or 5 times a day. Like, where I'm like, huh?
Yeah, just how many times this one girl, Kren, would say something like, Anna Banana, and like, that's all I have to hear, because that's part of my name. And
yeah.
like, huh? Oh no, they're not talking to me. You know, it's just
yeah.
It's so silly. Oh gosh, did I finish that one? No. Oh, the kennels. Okay. We would randomly get called to the kennels or office, and when we got there, no one was looking for us. Sometimes our radios, turned to off, would go on and sound, "Bring Fido to the office for pickup." Get to the office with said dog, and no one had radioed, nor were the owners there. Oh, okay. Yes.
Oh, creepy.
Similar. Yeah. Okay. Twice, one of my friends texted me mad because she saw me talking to my manager on the day off, and was upset I didn't go back and talk to her for a bit. I didn't go in. We called it the mimic or imitator, and it was always the same 3 of us that were mimicked. Ooh.
Oh, that's so creepy.
Yeah, I don't like that part. Just the 3 of you? Like I said, a lot more and creepier stuff happened, so if y'all want to know, I can write out the experiences from that job. Have loads more from personal life and post a link here. Oh my god, that's like when people write in listener stories and they're like, and I'll tell you that one another day.
Yeah. You're like, but how do I ever contact you?
I know, this was on the thread that was like, this post was posted 2 years ago. It's like, someone posted back, please, miss, may we have some more? And yeah, like I had a few Reddit posts, but not, I don't think a lot of them posted again.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh no, okay, yes. This was a good one. From Itty Bitty 216. Doppelgängers. Around 15 years ago, when both my kids were toddlers, I was putting them to bed one night, and my son was adamant that he wear his favorite red race car pajamas. I happily obliged. Yay! Helped him change into them and tucked him into bed. Then I sat down at my kitchen table with a friend who had come over to chat and catch up. The way that my apartment was set up, you could see my kid's bedroom doorway from the kitchen table. My friend and I were talking for a while before we were suddenly interrupted by the sound of my son screaming.
Oh
We both
no.
turned and looked at the bedroom doorway and saw my son standing there loudly crying / shrieking and wearing his green pajamas with airplanes on them. Everything inside of me was screaming that this was wrong. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end and a cold shiver shot down my spine. My friend and I wordlessly stared at each other for a second. We both knew that my son couldn't change his pajamas by himself yet. We looked back at the doorway and my son was gone.
Oh, that's really creepy.
Yeah, I thought this one was. We ran to the bedroom and found him tucked in bed, still sleeping peacefully in his red race car pajamas. My friend asked me if I had saw him standing there in his green airplane pajamas, and I confirmed that I had. My friend freaked out and left. Damn!
Yeah. That'd be me. I'd be like, sorry, peace out. I'll help you go burn the airplane pajamas in the backyard.
But don't you have a paranormal podcast? Bye!
Yeah. Bye. You look back, I'm also gone. You're like, was she ever here?
Yeah, like a cartoon, like just dust left behind.
Yeah. An outline of me suspended in the air for half a second, and then it poofs.
Sometimes, like my mom has a line that's like, "See that flash? Look at me go!" But I think that's usually more when she's not gonna do something. Either way, I slept on my kids' bedroom floor that night to make sure nothing happened to them. My friend and I still talk about it to this day. It's one of the craziest things that's ever happened to me. My son, of course, doesn't remember any of it, but he loves hearing the story of how his doppelganger scared the crap out of us. LOL.
I wouldn't love hearing about it. I'd be like, that thing was living in my room.
True.
The demons in my closet while I'm sleeping? Like,
I guess, but if he's still so young and then close and he knows maybe they're not evil.
yeah. Still creepy. I don't like that.
I know. That's why I had a hard time choosing some of the creepy ones. Let me see if there's any more that I actually skim read through. Oh, like, okay, this one's kind of funny in a different way. From Starry Lisa 61 on the same Reddit thread. One day years ago, I ran into a friend I hadn't seen for a few months. I said hello, and she got a bit snippy with me and made the remark, I can't talk, and made the remark, "Oh, now you're talking to me."
Wow.
Right? I'd be like, what? I was bewildered, and even more so when she told me that she had seen me in her church at the 11 a.m. Mass at the past 3 Sundays.
The past 3 Sundays?
Apparently.
Wow.
That's the Catholic one, I think, in Mass, right?
I don't know.
They devote it. No, I don't. Okay. But yeah, past 3 Sundays, she said. She talked to me at each Mass, but I either glared at her or ignored her.
Wow. Yeah, no wonder she's mad.
This bitch just doesn't want to talk to you. No. Can you imagine? The most elaborate lie. She's like, I saw you 3 days in a row. But I just can't imagine like seeing you out somewhere and having you be like, I didn't see you, Alanna. What are you talking about? Just be like,
I'd be like, pull the security camera footage now.
pull the ripcord, I am done.
Yeah.
Emergency exit. She kept insisting that it was me, so I suggested that I go to mass with her the following Sunday. And I did. And
Oh, no.
I, quote unquote, wasn't there that day. We'd gone through grade and high school together, and she knew me and swore up and down that it was me. Dressed in the exact same coat I wore, the same makeup and perfume. So how was I there when I wasn't? It was truly mysterious.
So she just caught you not going to church for 3 weeks in a row?
It's funny when it says the coat, because like when you said that your friends thought they recognized you from behind, I was like, oh my gosh. I thought for a while, like your plaid coat, I was like, that's Kelsey's iconic coat.
Yeah.
She has a red, cozy, fucking plaid ass coat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I looked through my closet again. I definitely don't have it anymore. Yeah.
Rip. Memorial.
It's gone. Those 2 jackets, one in black and white and one in red and black, for $20 each, were the best investments I think I made in a long time.
That sounds amazing.
They were perfect for like fall and spring because they weren't too heavy, and they lasted me 8 years at least.
That's like so cool. I mean, I remember getting like a wool ass sort of trench coat thing from like secondhand when I was in my teens, and I was like, damn. And like nowadays I'm like, I think I looked maybe older then with some things you wore, even if it is secondhand. But like, no, I loved it's like, I'm like, oh, I can imagine pictures seeing Kelsey from behind and being like, that's Kelsey. There's her curly hair, there's her plaid coat. Like, you know what I mean?
My grandma also used to tell me every time she saw me in the coats, she'd be like, I like that coat. And I'd be like, yes, I know.
It was so cute. Rip Kelsey's coat. We need a memorial. People have the thing for their youth. So like, goodbye to my 20s.
I will remember you. It's just a montage of, I don't have a single picture of me probably ever wearing either of those jackets. So I mean,
no. Just like there exists maybe one picture of me when I'm pregnant. It was just way before social media was like,
yeah,
not really, but a little.
I bought it from Urban Behavior for $20 each.
Damn, though.
Yeah, right.
It's that good find.
Mm-hmm.
So was that wool coat? Even though I think it had like some weird sweet and sour sauce crud in the pockets, it was still beautiful. Oh no. Looking.
Gross.
I can't remember. Hey, women's coats never have good pockets.
No, they don't. They're always. I hate the ones where it's too high or too low. Just like you're like,
or just fake.
Yeah,
yeah, people that don't know too. What the fake pockets are. You're like, dude, it looks like there's a pocket, and then there's not. It's just a slit. Ew. Anyway,
my favorite is when they still sew the inside lining of what would be a pocket into like jeans specifically, and then they sew the pocket closed, and you're like, but you put the lining in, it's supposed to be a pocket.
Oh my god. So like theoretically there's a pocket.
And I've had pants like that before that the pockets were sewn closed, but it still had like the lining that would be the actual pocket in the jeans, but you couldn't get at it because the tops of the pockets were sewn closed. So you're like, why did you waste the fabric adding the pocket lining then if you were gonna sew the fucking pocket closed?
This is outrageous to me.
Yeah. Big pocket is out against women. No.
Our clothes need big pocket energy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. So all right, maybe this will be a funny one I can end it on. Let's not put any pressure. Okay, my girlfriend and I were setting up some furniture in her basement. I told her I'd be right back. Went out the door and up the stairs to get to the bathroom. She had come up a minute later and was asking if I had come back downstairs. I hadn't. she began to explain to me that I came back into the basement, stared her down, and walked into the laundry room.
Oh, not in a basement.
Ooh. You know, and isn't that what everyone can afford for their first apartment, or just me, a basement? um, she went to investigate to see what was wrong with me, but nothing was there, and I had been in a whole different area of her house. And it said the house was built in 1912 and it's very active. Her mother has seen a mimic of my girlfriend a few times as well. So
Creepy. Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't. And the thing is, there's like just so many of those. It's just like even more creepy, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Almost like if it's like you gonna see yourself in the future, like that one guy's story where he sees himself on horseback or whatever, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, and then 8 years later, he's coming up the other way,
Yeah.
and he's like, "This is what I was wearing." They said it was like a black. I think one of the other things I read, I think it was like a black outfit. It had like gold threading in it, and like everything. Like it was a very distinct thing that he wouldn't normally wear or something, and
Yeah.
that's why he thought it was so strange the first time. And then it was like 8 years later, that must have been like more so in fashion, and then he's wearing it and he's walking
Right.
down the thing, and that's when he realizes he's on the same path going the direction he saw, wearing the clothes that he had seen 8 years before, meeting the same person that he had just left. There he was on their way to them from the other direction.
Yeah, the part with the clothes. I think I'd come
Yeah.
across that too, and I was like, oh, I don't know if she's gonna talk about that. Didn't want to deep dive into too many things on like just the Wikipedia, because I was like, I have a bunch of Reddit stories, but I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, that's weird, because like the ones where it seems like it's a time loop, time something. It was like, can you imagine if you just like imagine, oh, that person I saw a few years ago, it's just myself walking by. It's just like, wait,
Yeah.
what? What do I do with that?
Yeah, it's weird.
But fascinating, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned before, I get like oddly specific deja vu type things.
Ooh, okay.
Where it'll be like not just like, oh, that doorway looks familiar, or oh, this
No.
whatever looks familiar, but it's like what I'm doing at the time and what I overhear somebody say, and then like what they're wearing. And sometimes it can be, I don't know, like 10 to 20 seconds straight, like of like, I know
Ooh.
everything that's about to happen as it happens. And
That
it's
does seem a
really
little
weird.
disconcerting. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I had once at work, and the one girl, they were like really, really enforcing the dress code at work when I first started there at the beginning of COVID. And so
Yeah.
everybody, like, you weren't wearing stuff with writing and all that kind of stuff. And the one girl, the one day after it got a little bit more relaxed, came in, she was wearing a, uh, I think it was like NASCAR or something,
Oh no.
like, yeah, like car racing kind of thing. But
Something
it
with a
was,
label, which is not usually permissible at
yeah, it had
most
like a
jobs.
crazy thing, and it was like kind of like a vintagey looking one, but I don't think it was actually vintage,
Mm.
and it was like oversized and it was white, and it had all these big like cars all over it. And then
Yeah, and if you just started somewhere and you don't know what you can get away with, like, come on now. That's just silly.
yeah, um
Yeah.
but yeah, she had been there longer than me. And um
Okay.
like I remember, because I was still on door greeter, I was standing at the door, and she was on cash, and she like came walking over, and she was checking something because somebody was picking something up, one of the sold holds, and like stuff people pay for before, and then they can't, if it's like a couch, well, can't, not everybody can just take a couch home out
Ah,
of nowhere,
okay.
so they sometimes are like, oh, I have to go rent like a U-Haul, or I have to go line up with somebody with a truck. So
Right.
yeah,
You're
she
holding
was
on
with
to
a
it.
customer and they were coming to pick it up, and she said the customer's name, like first and last name, and I remembered what she was wearing, what the customers were wearing, what the customer's name was, and the item that they were grabbing. And I stood there at the front of the store being like, oh my god, I like this whole thing played out, and it was really, really creepy because it's one of the only times I remembered when I had seen it, like the first time, and it was months and months before I even worked at that job, while I was still working with you, that I saw this at a future job that I didn't imagine myself having with somebody I had never met in a situation I didn't even know existed. Like,
well, that's weird.
Yeah. I was like standing there and I was like, oh my god, like, and it was as I was happening, like
So,
everything that they kept saying and everything word for word for, I don't know, probably almost 30 seconds of like, yeah, just bring your vehicle, we'll get somebody to help you, what's your name, is this your item, all that stuff. It was like, ugh. And then like the shirt she was wearing,
oh my god.
and everything. Yeah, and it was probably 3 or 4 months into me working there, but I had seen it like almost a year before. So like well before I even had thoughts of leaving my last job. That I had
so
like
bizarre.
seen this play out in my head. Yeah. And I have like a handful of ones like that where it's happened where I'm standing there and I'll literally tell somebody, I have seen this before. Like, and I'll be like, and I saw it like before you even worked here, or like before I even met you. Like, I knew this was gonna play out. It's
we
so
literally
weird.
almost got into a slight argument discussion between our whole family here the other day, being the deja vu. Well, it's caused by this. It's like, well, we don't even know really. It's
Yeah,
like, I
they
think
don't know what it
Pat
is.
has a book that's called the Deja Vu Enigma, because
Yeah.
like one of those things where I'm pretty sure we don't even really know exactly how sleep works. I mean, how will we ever understand this sort of phenomenon? And like, I don't know. I think Rain said something she heard like that. It was sort of some displaced memory, and I was like,
Yeah.
I like that theory. It's interesting. I just it's so confusing.
Yeah.
I don't. That is really interesting though. Really weird. Like, it's like having a total like premonition dream or something like.
Yeah, like anytime it's ever happened to me, it's not like a minor thing of being like, oh, like it's like no, like it's a whole interaction, or it's like I remember what I'm doing and I remember what like 2 or 3 other people either do or say and in what order and everything, or what I'm looking at. I'll like remember because I had one time I was like at work refilling the reusable bags and I was saying something to somebody and then like they were talking back to me and I was looking and it was right after they had renovated our store. It was like the first day or something and I was looking and I went, "Oh my god, like I've seen this too." And I was like, up until like today we didn't even have this open. So how had I like seen our whole setup and everything, cuz it
seemed familiar,
yeah, it was like pretty different and everything. So yeah, I've had it happen a handful of times where I've like told somebody right after and been like, I'd seen all that before. And then there's like a certain point where it'll cut off and then I like don't remember, but yeah, it's like creepy. Cause as they're like I'll say something and then I'll be like, and then it's not like I can like predict what their line is, but as soon as they say it, I'm like, yeah, that's what they said, or like as they're saying it, and then it'll be like, oh well, like, and I'll remember that there's like, oh, a few more seconds left of like whatever I saw, but I can't recall what those few seconds are until they've happened. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
starting
it's
to
so
remind me
weird.
of the Supernatural, the Mystery Spot episode.
Yeah,
where Sam's trying to convince Dean that he's seen the day so many times before, and he's like, "What? You seen this all before?" He's like, "Yeah, I have." Oh, what?
yeah.
So Sam's just a stupid dick, and they all start talking in unison because Sam predicts everything he says. And it's just like, oh yeah, oh my god, that would freak me out. I don't know.
Yeah, the first few times definitely freaked me out because I was like, especially at my current job, because I hadn't even started working there for very long when I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I've seen this, and like I didn't know these people. I didn't work here. I never would have been standing here because I was standing at the door, and then because of COVID, we were like counting the number of customers that were
Right.
in the store.
But you
So I was
had
like,
felt like you'd seen it before you'd been there. Is that
yeah,
what you're saying?
yeah,
That
like
is so
perfectly.
cool.
Yeah,
That's so crazy. I
I
don't get it,
know.
and I love it.
Yeah, I've never been able to quite figure it out, but I probably have like 5 times where it's happened, and it's been like, yeah, upwards of like 20, 30 seconds where it's like multiple people saying,
Oh,
like, including myself. It's not just like a quick like,
yeah.
whoa, deja vu. It's like, no, like
Right.
all of these specific things, like, you have to be wearing
Mm-hmm.
this, you have to say this, I have to respond this, you have to say this back, this person has to interrupt, I have to be holding this, like, so many specific
Yeah.
things going on.
Well, exactly. And most people's lives are that way. Like, you have a
Yeah.
different job, everything then becomes more specific in that way. It's like we're not gonna all have that same interaction. So that's what makes it, yeah,
Yeah.
just even a little bit more bizarre. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Ugh, interesting. And here I thought I'd have to maybe look into mimics and stuff because, doppelgangers wouldn't be enough, but holy shit. There's so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'd be interesting. Well, there's a lot of different things because, yeah,
Yeah.
they talk about mimics. And I saw some stuff about deja vu when I was looking up doppelgangers too. So,
Right. Well, exactly. It's one of those unexplained phenomena, so we can't really put it into one category, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
someday.
Right?
But to think you have your own mimic out there is just such a weird thought, you know?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that'd be weird. I
It
don't think I've
is.
ever thought I saw you somewhere. Not that I can remember.
No, me neither. But to hear someone be like, I saw Kelsey. Or like,
Yeah. It was a long time ago. It was, I don't know, probably like 14, 15 years ago.
I've definitely probably seen the wrong person, but like, hey,
Yeah.
or I think I said like maybe I don't have face blindness, but I feel like I got parking lot blindness when one day it's like they actually come to pick me up from work and it's like Pat and Rain and it's like, hey mom, and I'm like, who's that calling me over there? Hey mom, oh, I remember when Rain was really little.
Oh.
I have
Yeah.
context blindness. No.
Yeah, well, if you don't expect somebody.
Not always.
Yeah.
And I don't always have an easy time finding the cars in the parking lot, that's for sure, as far as parking lot blindness goes. Where's my fucking car? I don't know.
I try and park by pillars. I find it easier. I'll be
Ooh.
like, I'm kind of a pillar over here, especially if it's got numbers on it. I'll be like, I'm number
Oh,
4.
yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah, if
that.
you have to go somewhere as big at parking lots as like West Edmonton Mall, yeah. At work, I like park in the same corner because I'm like, well, I
Yeah,
know this little spot. Yeah.
I have pretty much the same spot at my work, but especially right now, because by the time we're leaving, it's so
Yeah.
dark out. I was like, oh, I want the little light that's in the parking lot to
Oh,
be like
yeah.
my car sitting under it.
Right.
Yeah.
I hard agree.
Well,
All right. Well, by the
I
time
think,
this comes out, it will be what? Almost Christmas time, I guess so.
yeah, I think this is our last, or no, not the last episode before Christmas, the
It comes
20th.
out on what? Okay, yes, the 20th. I can't read.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, yeah, we hope you guys had a great year, and I'm really looking forward to a new year and a new leaf and going forward. So
right?
we'll see you guys all on the pod and on Patreon, and we love you all.
Yeah.
It's Christmas, holy shit.
Yeah. We might be taking a break at some point. We can announce it.
Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be at least 1 or 2 reset episodes before we can do a new season or something, because it's that time of year. But we're also working behind the scenes and doing our little Patreon Yule episodes, so you guys can always find us there. And I looked, actually, it's like, I think it maybe said total of like 60 episodes we have on there. So we have definitely some
nice
bonus content. If you don't want to just support the pod and want to get some extra stuff when you go join us on the Patreon.
Yeah. It'd be a perfect time to message us or something. Let us know what you want to see more of in 2025 and for like episodes or Patreon, and let us know, because we're willing to do it. You just gotta tell us.
That's true. Yeah, we still enjoy doing it, so hopefully you guys still enjoy listening. And if you have any input, we'll take it into consideration. And now talking like the Chili Peppers, thoity doity boys sitting on a coib, choiping and boiping and eating doity oitworms.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I know. Okay. Shut us off. No. All right, we love you. We'll catch you next week or the week after. But until then, keep it cryptic.
Sometime.
We love you. Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Castles and Cryptids. We love all our listeners and appreciate every subscriber, every new review, every listen, rate, and download. Our music is by Kobe Off Air, and our cover art is by Antonio Garcia. We are also a proud member of Darkcast Network, where you can find the best and spookiest of all indie podcasts. Follow us on social media, where we are at Castles and Cryptids on mostly all of the things, now including TikTok. Check out our bonus content on Patreon. Cryptid clashes, video minisodes of your host making asses of themselves, Ask Me Anything, quizzes, other special episodes, and more. Starting at just $2 a month, you can get 1 to 2 extra episodes, depending on your level. We produce, edit, and research everything ourselves, and any support you can lend helps us to keep it cryptic.